Good morning. You know the drill by now. 1.07, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. Let's see how the match progressed. Did we get a goal before half time? We did, but it didn't fit in with the 20-minute rule, alas. 20-minute rule for a 1.07 shot. If it's 0-0 after 20 minutes, we expect goals from a 1.07 shot, as indeed we got. So if it's 0-0 after 20 minutes, 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted half-time score market can often yield you a very decent return relative to 1.07, that is. Something like 5, 6, 7 to 1. Pretty decent. The Sheffield United equaliser was an own goal. And as some members do, they do check the goal scored. If it's a penalty or an own goal, should instill a little bit more confidence in you that that's just a rick or a not really expected. And normal service should be resumed a little bit later on, as indeed it was. You'll have Cody Gakpo to thank for putting the gloss on the scoreline. Normally 1.07, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. 3-1 would be the biggest price of those three scorelines. It's normally, you can get something like 14 to 1, 15 to 1, about a 3-1 scoreline in a match like this. So, easy job for Liverpool, really. And a couple of trading angles for you, particularly taking that draw on after the Bradley own goal. Chelsea and Man United. Well, 1.8 favourite Chelsea. Unbelievable match. You don't know which Man U turns up. Would you have taken on a 2-0 lead for Chelsea, given the fact the second goal, as I've alluded to about goal types, was a penalty? That could have been an angle in for you. Garnacho, the form player yesterday, when he links in with Højlund, they tend to be a pretty good pairing. It looked like this was the Cole Palmer day yesterday. Another penalty in the 100th minute and 111th minute, 101st minute winner for Cole Palmer. Fantastic match. Don't know how to have played that one, I'm afraid. Some matches are more readable than others. Huge surprise for me that Feyenoord, after conceding the first two goals against Utrecht and scoring four more in response, couldn't get a tune out of Volendam yesterday. But this is a Volendam right in the bottom basement. Volendam's goal is to get to that 16th place, which will give them another swing of the bat. So I think at some point, had I played this yesterday, I would have been on the losing end here. Always look for value, though. And by looking for value, you can keep the liability as low as you can. Valvik and Almere, no strong opinion there. And Ajax and Go Ahead Eagles ended 1-1. Did Go Ahead Eagles score first? What a contrast to the day before in the Dutch Eredivisie this was. Oh, sloppy from Ajax. Very sloppy, 92nd minute. No real trading angle there at all, but what a contrast to the day before in the Eredivisie. This was 5-0, 5-0, and a 3-3. 5-0, 5-1, 3-3. What on earth went wrong yesterday? It's normally a goal, a league you can expect goals in. Granada and Valencia, no strong opinion there. But on paper, Valencia were the better side season long. So deserving of that one goal win on seasonal form, that is. 77th minute, a very laboured performance yesterday from Valencia. So vindicated, really, I think, insofar as taking the night off. Not very tradable set of fixtures. Looking on to today, and it's the beginning of the pre-Champions League weekend. Pre-Champions League, pre-Europa League, and pre-Europa Conference League. There will be a whole raft of teams who will be affected by that competition, or those competitions. Frankfurt against Werder Bremen. Well, Frankfurt have been going under the radar at home, if my memory serves me. Let's have a quick look. Only 2 defeats since the 20th of December. Unbeaten 7 at home. It's pretty solid stuff Werder have scored in the last 7 away, so watch out. Possibility of both teams to score, which would put that 1.83 at jeopardy, because Frankfurt will need to score 2 goals if both teams to score, of course, to get the win. 10 out of 12 goals conceded at home came first half. So they're at the most vulnerable first half, Frankfurt. If they can weather that first half, then you'd be strongly favouring them second half. All defeats away against 2nd to 12th. I have a problem with my dash. It's gone. There it is. It's back. 11 out of 14 goals scored away have come second half for Werder Bremen. So we've got Frankfurt tending to concede first half against Werder tending to score second half. I would be favouring Frank. They look very hard to beat at home. The Irish Premier Division and the Irish First Division, it's still too early in the season for us to do any practical research. But do note there's a couple of odds-on favourites getting through the cracks. Cork City, Cobh Ramblers. This is a derby of sorts. Cobh was one of the last ports that Titanic went to on its ill-fated journey across the Atlantic. I've been to Cobh. Cork City, where my mum was born. Strong favourite in the Irish First Division, as is Derry City as well. Shamrock Rovers has been a pretty decent start to the season for them as well. If you want to have a quick look at the form, then of course Soccer Stats is there to help you. The Irish leagues are covered by soccerstats.com. You just have to look for them. Search league IRE, Irish Premier Division, Irish First Division. You're not going to get much out of the research at the moment, I'm afraid. You've got the matter of about 4 or 5 matches. I'll start researching it once this season propers goes. So you can see only 3 matches played at home for Bows, only 4 played away for Waterford. They've only had the 1 win against Drogheda, and Drogheda that lost to Bohemians. So, sorry, Bohemians lost to Drogs. Waterford beat Drogs. Don't know if we can take anything out of that. Waterford lost to Galway. Bohemians beat Galway. So it's form that doesn't stick. Waterford drew with Shelbourne. Bows lost to Shelbourne. Bows beat Derry and Galway. Waterford have beat St Pax and Drogheda. Very hard to unpack at the moment. The only real angles, I suppose, 0-0s at half time. See that 0-0 there. But at the moment, as you can see, Irish Premier Division, Irish First Division, I can't really offer you much in the form of a weigh-in. You can do check the pre-match odds as well. They might give you an idea. 3 odds-on favourites today, it seems. That's just the market giving you a strong indicator. Salernitana and Sassuolo. This is your typical relegation 6-pointer. But Sassuolo are down. Sorry, Salernitana are down. Sassuolo must take points off Salernitana today. Salernitana, Sassuolo. I'm getting the S's mixed up. Sassuolo still have a chance of getting out of this relegation mess. Salernitana, no. But as befits a relegation 6-pointer and strugglers, Salernitana will fancy their chances today against a lesser light. The Dutch Eerste Divisie, well, you'd be expecting goals today in its usual 7 p.m. slot on a Friday. Any 0-0 at half-time, gettable in this kind of a league, where the reputation for goals precedes it. We've got a smattering of other leagues. Romanian 1 League, Farul Constanta. I'll be up and about for you tomorrow for the live chats or live streams on Saturday and Sunday. It's been a bit of a tricky week with not much to interest from my perspective on the coupons. Tough to call matches. Rotherham and Plymouth. Well, Rotherham got the first win in a very, very long time against Millwall, and we still profited very well. We laid the draw in that match, expecting Millwall to score first. Rotherham scored first. We actually made a £10 green screen. What I did with that, I laid the Rotherham lead and I backed Millwall. We got the Millwall equaliser to make it 1-1, and I cashed out. Made a £30 green screen, and guess who won? Rotherham. As I was alluding to in that match, and you're playing Rotherham, you're expected to get 3 points against them because Rotherham, like Salernitana, are down. And like Salernitana's match, this is a relegation 6-pointer as well. Plymouth definitely need the win. They're 21st. Rotherham are 18 points shy of second bottom. Plymouth are 1 point above the relegation zone, so you've got to expect a fighting performance from Plymouth today. Rotherham will be boosted by that unexpected beating of Millwall and might still have a say in the relegation dogfight, Rotherham, as they continue picking up very, very unlikely and not really required wins. Lille and Marseille, French Ligue 1. The basic rule with Marseille is at home, the fans don't let them lose, but away, they've been a bit wobbly. They've conceded in the last 13 away. Only 3 wins since the 20th of September, which is pretty poor. All defeats away against the top 10 for Marseille as well. And they're meeting 4th today. So on paper, Marseille away from home are very, very poor. They've failed to score in all but one of those matches against the top 10. So they're going to have trouble even scoring today on that basis and could be liable if leading. Only 5 losses for Lille all season, 4 of those coming away. No defeat and 10 at home. So that looks very readable. As ever on a Friday, I take the day off and I wait to work for you on Saturday and Sunday. Bundesliga 2 as well might be of interest to you. Do check the positions and read the previews, please. If they're provided, please read them because they're brilliant. So well written. Hansa Rostock and Wien Wiesbaden. I was just trying to get the German matches up. Hansa Rostock, Wien Wiesbaden. So this is confusing me now. I was trying to show you the league positions. Make sure that you check out the league positions. Hansa Rostock, for instance, be expecting them to either win. A win today would take them to 31 points, possibly out of the relegation zone. So a vital match for them. Let me just get the website back up. Hansa Rostock and Wien Wiesbaden, Paderborn and Hertha Berlin. I think Hertha Berlin are up near the top. Paderborn, mid-table, not going to be worrying too much. Was it Hertha Berlin? They're having an awful season. Ex of the Bundesliga, and they find themselves all the way down in 9th place. But a win today will take them to 41, scoot them up to the top 4, top 5. But it's a very vicious league to get out of. Only 3 places available. And they're way off the mark. Some 8 points away from 3rd. So it's a must-win for Hertha Berlin today as well. Paderborn, mid-table. So already you've got a couple of angles in here which could present the opportunity to logically lay any late draw. Points are required. Do please read the previews if you want any extra angles. And I've mentioned it before. If you want some really good angles that you might not get anywhere else, do check this out. Absolutely superb. The pre-game facts. Go backwards so you'll have a chance to read them. Eintracht Frankfurt won the last 2 games when Goetze scored, so watch out for that. We saw the Nottingham Forest relation to this. When Chris Wood plays, they tend not to lose. So we'll watch out for Chris Wood on the score sheet. Scored in his last 3 for Forest as well. So Mario Goetze. Oscar Marmouche, well, we don't need to know that. Werder Bremen lost the last 4 in a row. They've conceded the first goal of the game in the last 5. They're away from home today. Been a penalty award in 6 of the last 10 between Frankfurt and Werder Bremen. That's interesting, but I'm not sure from a trading perspective how that can be useful. Both sides score before half-time, so if that's 0-0 after 20 minutes, you might want to lay the draw in the half-time market. That's how you would use these pre-game facts. They are pretty decent, aren't they? And of course the match preview. So if you wanted a full look at the match, And while I've got a little bit of time on my hand, I do recommend ChatGPT. I really do. For matches like these ones in the Bundesliga 2, if it's covered on uk.soccerway.com, you can make yourself a really good pre-match review. And I'm starting to do this method for 2.4, the favourite matches, which I will not research because it's a waste of time, but I can quite happily take them through. If we've got a review for Paderborn Hertha Berlin, let's have a look. We do. Brilliant. So, I've shown you this before, but repetition is the mother of skill. Take the Soccerway match preview, paste it. Don't forget your full stop at the end and a little gap. Go off to the preview here, where we're doing Paderborn today, I think. Yeah. So go to the Paderborn preview. If they're here, you might as well have a go and take them through. Now you could leave it at this if you wanted to be ultra quick. But what I like to do is like to dig out a little bit more information from those pre-game facts. So let me sort those out. You go to uk.soccerway. Don't forget you're going backwards. At least one first half goal being scored, 81%. So that's worth knowing, isn't it, from a trader's perspective? Really strong pattern, that one. Don't forget your full stop. Then we go back to the next one. At least one first half goal. Well, we already know that. Grimaldi. Paderborn conceded at least one goal from Hertha Berlin in the last 8 games. The syntax is a bit off, isn't it? It's not. It seems to be translation of English. So off you go with that one. While you're doing that, don't forget to have a sip of your coffee. Vitally important for the trader. Paderborn have won only one of the last 5 games against Hertha, so that's could be of some importance. All the information you can gather for free, do so. Don't forget your full stop, just to make sure that the sentences don't bleed into each other and the AI might have trouble. Hertha Berlin failed to keep a clean sheet in the last 11. That's important. So off you go with that one. And the next one, Paderborn have won just one of the last 5 Bundesliga 2 home games. I think that is 2 Bundesliga. So that's important. So they're not too hot at home. I think we're getting to the end of these. Hertha Berlin have won just one of the last 5 Bundesliga 2 games. So that's pretty poor form. And we post that. And I think that could be done. Paderborn have just won one of the last 5. There were at least 3 goals in each of the last 15 games that Hertha Berlin has won. So if you're expecting a Hertha win today, could be both teams to score 2-1, that kind of thing. Now, we've got to tell ChatGPT what we want. So I've got my notepad. Turn all this information into an informative preview of the match. In the conclusions, state the possible winner, etc., etc. And then off we go. Boom. And you'll have yourself a quick pre-match preview. And I have asked it to précis at the very end. So if you want to just go to the end of the match, the conclusions. But what I've found with ChatGPT is it keeps bringing up 2-1 scorelines. I don't know why, but it seems to be every scoreline that it predicts is 2-1. That could be the lack of knowledge from the software, I don't know. Hertha Berlin's potent attack, 53 goals scored, 3rd in the competition. Paderborn's leaky defence. So if you're looking at the key stats, possibility that Paderborn will concede, but inability to keep a clean sheet for Hertha. So that both teams to score element has been picked up by ChatGPT. And the advantage you have with ChatGPT is it looks at this purely logically, using the available information. That's the positive about it. Absolutely no messing with emotion and whether he's a fan of one of these two or not. So that's just a recommendation for you. If you do see the previews here, you might want to make use of ChatGPT in order to give yourself a pre-match preview of matches I won't cover necessarily in the research. Otherwise, I'll be researching 12 hours a day. That looks to be about that for tonight. You're unlikely to hear from me, but you will be hearing from me fully tomorrow. There's going to be a live stream for members only tomorrow. I opened up the last 3 over Easter to everybody, but members only. So you'll find it at Football Trading Profits. Very simple. And you'll find it in the live section tomorrow. It'll be there waiting for you. I'll confirm everything. The last live stream was this one, I think. Monday as well, 56 views. Very enjoyable Mondays as well. I enjoyed it. Found some good trading angles. Sunday was not as good as the 2 Sundays ago prior to the international break, but we just killed it basically because the quality of football was so good, which is unlikely for a Sunday. So live chat webinars, probably going to be 2.5 hours or thereabouts. Well worth your coming along to if you can. They have been excellent of late, and you learn a lot, and we can discover new trading angles as well. So I hope you can come along. Members only though for this weekend. Have a great Friday. I don't know if I'll be up and about this evening, but if I am, as ever, I'll pass on my info. But I like to get an early night when I can, relative to staying up till 3 a.m. This would be for that. But it looks these look tradable matches. They have trading angles. Must win for Plymouth. Frankfurt, solid home form. Marseille, really poor on the road. If we can trust these pre-match stats, Sassuolo must beat Salernitana. Must. Simple as that. So some good matches. Have a great Friday. You'll be seeing more of me tomorrow for the whole day, probably starting about 12:30, moving all the way up to about 7 p.m. So I'm going to be putting in a full shift for you tomorrow and on Sunday. Have a great Friday. Let's hope you can make some green.